So today is September 10th, and I just learned something today about the sacred secretion that I did not make the connection with before. So I wanted to share what I discovered, and also I wanted to do it because it's my birthday tomorrow, and I have been practicing the sacred secretion for 3 years now. And so starting tomorrow, it is the beginning of my 4th year, which is significant. And I wanted to share that as well. So I'm going to start by talking about Naronia. This is out of the book, The Light of Egypt by Thomas Bergeron. And he's talking about the cycle of the sun, the mystical cycle of the sun, which is a 600-year process. And I'm not going to talk about that. I just want to share the part that he talks about in connection to the soul, which is the start of the process of the sacred secretion. It starts with Naronia. It starts with this. So I'm going to read what he says. She is the cycle of the soul and enacts upon the spiritual plane of human existence a similar series of events to those of the Naros upon the mundane sphere of life. Each year of life, the Earth, in her orbit, transits the point in space which she occupied at a person's birth. Or in other words, the sun returns to the same sign and degree of the zodiac that he occupied in the horoscope. So it's talking about your birthday, your actual birthday, which mine is tomorrow. In this transit, the solar force renews the life energies of the soul and regalvanizes them with additional force. We are speaking spiritually. These germs of new forces are virtues, powers, potencies, and deific attributes of the great solar orb. So on your birthday, every year, these seeds are given to us, are within us. They are spiritual ovums or seeds of human possibilities, and if consciously nourished and cherished, will evolve powers and states within the human soul which correspond in their action to our hidden spiritual attributes. If unnoticed, uncared for, they remain until other forces polarize them and then pass onward down their cycle. When the moon, in the course of her motion, arrives at the same place during each month, she impregnates these seeds and endows them with magnetic life. Therefore, in an occult sense, she confers upon humanity the powers and possibilities of magical forces. It is this lunar solar influx of Naronia within the human constitution, then, that controls the real foundation and basis of spiritual development and occult power. Remember these most important facts, then, and, guided by your own spiritual intuitions in the matter, use this knowledge according to the light which nature has already given you, or which you shall hereafter receive. We have revealed to you the mystery of Naronia, have given you an outline sketch of its basis in nature and its philosophy in human evolution, as near as it is possible, without leading you out of your safe path or bringing you nigh unto dangerous ground. For those who are ready to utilize this mystery, what we have said will be plain and easy of comprehension. For those who are not yet ready, rest assured it is wiser to wait until your spiritual nature is more highly developed. So basically, you either get it or you don't. And if it resonates with you, then you'll research it and you'll look into it more. And if it doesn't resonate with you, then you'll just move on, which is good. That's the way it's supposed to work. So Naronia is also this process of the sacred secretion. And so on your birthday is when you are giving these 12 seeds, or 13, depending on the year, because this year there was only 12 moons. But next year, there's going to be 13 because of leap year. And that is significant. And I'm going to read a little bit about that in just a second. So that's on your birthday, which for me, like I said, is tomorrow. Another reason why I wanted to do this video today, to share what I've learned. because this month is going to be the start of my 4th year practicing the sacred secretion. So when the moon is in your sun sign every month, that's when these seeds of possibility, the seeds of enlightenment, if they are preserved and not squandered, can help bring you to enlightenment, help awaken you, and help connect you spiritually in a way that nothing else can. So from the Godmen, talking about leap year. Okay, so this is where leap year comes in. As that time, there is great rejoicing, for at the end of 3 years, all the tithes are gathered and laid up within the gates. This represents the seeds of the field, one seed being saved every month. And at the end of 3 years, if all seeds have been saved, there would be 36. With the extra month added, it would make a total of 37 seeds. As 7 represents or stands for the conqueror, we can easily see that there is something special and significant in this 37th seed, and also a great significance to the 4th year. The seed born at this time must have some special function to perform in the physiological economy, and must be the seed which begins to lay the foundation of the temple. For the seeds that are saved for 3 years complete a certain process in the body, and if all are saved during that time, so that with the beginning of the 4th year, a special and most wonderful process begins. It is probable that the 36 seeds have been carried into the blood and completed the circuit of the body, producing a very great change therein, so that when the 3rd year process is completed, the 37th seed or conqueror is born and is the cause of very great rejoicing. As then the results of the 3 years, the tithes are collected within the gate, taken to the Holy of Holies, and used to lay the foundation of that sacred space. I just wanted to share right here that 9/2016 is when I started this process. 9/2019 is the beginning of my 4th year. So I just find it really interesting. So my 37th seed in this process will be when when the moon enters Virgo at the end of this month, which will be, I think it's like the 26th or 27th. I have to look. It's right near the dark moon again. So we'll see. The connection that I made. So before I share that, this year has been very interesting to me. It's been a very, very hard year. I've been through hell for sure, but at the same time, I've had incredible, beautiful experiences, and every step of the way, I've felt Spirit guiding and helping and directing me as to what to do next. And one of those things that was so important to me was my ayahuasca experience. Having that experience with DMT just was the most wonderful, beautiful thing I have done for myself ever. And it is not the only experience I've had with DMT. I also sat with salvia, which is controversial, but legal in Utah. And my experience with salvia was, holy shit. There aren't words, but the words that I can try to use are, well, it was beautiful and amazing, and totally lost my body, went one with everything. It was joyous. I laughed so the entire time. Like, I don't remember not being joyful and in total bliss. I know that's not the experience that everyone has with it. I did it with another person, and let's just say they were not in total bliss. What happened with our experience is a whole nother story, but we ended up taking the trip at the same time, which wasn't our intention, wasn't planned, but it just happened that he had it and I had it, and we shared the trip, which all minds are joined. I know that for sure. All minds are joined. I was able to join his mind. We had the same DMT. Well, it's not DMT. Salvia's in a class of its own, but it's similar. A hallucinogen, yeah. We shared the same trip, and he came out of it with a very different understanding than I did. Like, I would have gone again in a heartbeat, and he said, "No, thank you. I'm done." So my point with salvia is not that, getting off topic. My point is that spiritual connection to being absolutely one with everything. DMT, salvia, gets you there. It shows you that you are part of something so much bigger and so much greater. Well, the part of the sacred secretion that I was missing, that I just made that connection today, was it's DMT. It's DMT in our body that we are making and increasing. And it's the DMT, the spirit molecule, that the sacred secretion is helping to preserve and to increase. So it makes total sense that this process is a spiritual process. It involves DMT, and it makes our connection to the spiritual side that much stronger when we practice preserving those seeds. So the journey of the sacred secretion starts in our brain, starts at the claustrum, the gray matter, a thin gray sheet starts the secretion process. It is in the cerebral spinal fluid, and it goes to the pineal gland and the pituitary gland, where it gets the milk and honey. It gets that's Joseph and Mary. It gets that male-female energy. It gets the electro and the magnetic connection in this secretion. And then it goes down Ida and Pingala, your nerves that twist through your body, to the sacrum. And there it gets pumped and turned around. So this is a 12-hour process in our body. It goes a round trip, 12 hours. And that spinal fluid has many functions. But the seed, where it comes in, is on when your moon is in the sun sign, when our moon is in your sun sign. That's when those seeds that were put in on your birthday are impregnated and taken. They're born in the manger, right? Your solar plexus. They're taken from there and moved with this oil that's left, the fluid, back up your spinal cord and pass through into the hippocampus. I'm not going to say all the things that are in there. I have a different video for that. But the sacred secretion, so it goes up, back up the spine, sits in the hippocampus. There's a spot, a tomb. There's a tomb where this oil sits for 2.5 days before it is returned to the father, which is the pineal gland. And this is the time of the preservation. So yes, you want to practice these good habits of the sacred secretion all the time because you want your body to be alkaline, but especially these 2.5 days where the moon is in your sun sign, and the oil is sitting in the hypothalamus. And that's not really, it's a more specific spot anyways, that it is being preserved. And it is here that the DMT, the stuff that has been secreted from the pineal gland, is going to be resurrected. When it gets back to the pineal gland, it's going to vibrate at a higher rate than it was when it was first born down in your solar plexus. So the secretion needs preserving, and let's see. So this is a daily process, right? It takes 12 hours for this process to go. So you do it twice a day. What makes it sacred is when the moon enters the sun sign and this seed is impregnated. The potential, the possibility there, if the oil is preserved and it makes it to the tomb, makes it into that spot, then our spiritual side can take off and open up like never before. And it's because of DMT. It's because of what our bodies are doing naturally. It's just most of us kill it. Most of us do not preserve the seed because we don't know. We haven't been taught. But if we do this process, the synchronicities, the messages that come through, the divine inspiration, that's what it is. It's just divine inspiration that comes to you in a way that becomes pretty clear that it's because of this process if you decide to follow it. It just connects you to the divine field. Nikola Tesla talked about that. There's a divine field that we can all tap into. That's what it connects you to. And I believe it's through the DMT that our body naturally produces. So there's an analogy. This is The Science of the Sacred Secretion, a book that I just got that helped me make that connection to, oh my gosh, it's DMT in our body that's awakening us when we practice the preservation of the sacred secretion. I just want to read one thing that she says in here. The sacred secretion is therefore a spiritual conception of a virgin, if you will. As the book of Revelation states, a great and wondrous sign appeared in the heaven. A woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. She was pregnant. Then an enormous red dragon appeared with 7 heads. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was giving birth, so that he might devour the child the moment it was born. And she goes on explaining this passage that you will give birth when the moon is in your sun sign, as the moon is at the foot of the main constellation out of the 12 that crowned you, and the influence of the inorganic mineral salts that clothed you at birth when you were a pure virgin. It is then through the mastery of your own energy-filled and egoic desires that we can conquer the dragon, the lower self that would otherwise consume the child. In short, the sacred secretion is the name given to the scientific description of the physical release of DMT and the spiritual description of the religious story of Jesus. By taking back control of our past conditioning and increasing our understanding of the collective consciousness, we become enlightened, and through enlightenment, we find true peace and happiness. By preserving the seed within a nutritionally dense environment and allowing it the opportunity to grow, we give it life. We can trigger a highly vibrant fluid throughout our body that improves our consciousness and psychic awareness. That is what the sacred secretion does. It improves our consciousness and our psychic awareness, making us more connected to spirit, synchronicities. So I guess my awe of this was just because of this past year and the experiences that I've had with DMT. And it's not just plants. You can do this with your breath. I didn't understand that as well as I do now, that it's a matter, DMT, our lungs have a huge part in making DMT. And that's why practicing sacred breath, meditation, is so important, and why you can reach those kinds of states without any kind of drugs. Just our breath alone can make us have a DMT experience and increase our spirituality, being mindful of our breath. So things that I do to preserve the sacred secretion, fasting and juicing, especially during those 2.5 days, drinking. I drink distilled water. I know there's controversy about that. I just prefer distilled water, pure water. Keeping the body as alkaline as possible, and meditation. Meditation has been, for me, the most important part of it. And one thing that I just started doing, it's been 2 weeks now, but I sit with hape before I meditate. Well, and sananga. I'm very much into plant medicine because I think it is just so incredible what it can do for us. So sananga is an eye drop. It is from the root of a tree in the Amazon that grows near the river. So the roots go into the river. So it's a very feminine plant medicine. And so you put that drop in your eye, burns like hell. I have had moments with that medicine that have, I thought it was going to kill me. Like, it punched me so hard in the third eye, I thought I wasn't going to recover from it. It just hurt so bad. But it was helping to decalcify my pineal gland, which is absolutely probably number one thing for the raising of the oil and preservation of the sacred secretion, is decalcify your pineal, which is why I drink distilled water, and no fluoride toothpaste, no fluoride in anything that I can help. Other things that help too, of course, just no GMO food, try and eat organic fruits and vegetables, no meat or dairy. Those things are not as easy for me. Well, no meat, but sometimes I'm still having a hard time with the dairy. So sananga is the eye drop that I sit with first because it's the feminine energy. Then the hape is the masculine. And I get mine from chakra openings, sorry. And it's just tobacco mixed with ash of different trees, depending on what it's supposed to do. I have one that is specific just for the third eye to help open it. And then you use a little tool like that. It's a snuff. So you put the powder here and then blow. You blow it up your nose. And sometimes it feels like you've been smacked in the face as well. Decalcifying the pineal gland. I sit with that medicine every day, sometimes twice a day if I feel like I need it. And anything I can do to help this process. These medicines have called to me. I know they're not for everyone. And I wouldn't encourage anyone to just go willy-nilly and grab and go get it without working with a shaman first, just because it can make you sick. So anyways, my just making that connection today with realizing that this process is a process of preserving our own DMT that our body naturally makes in the pineal gland. It was like, oh my gosh, it finally makes sense. I've been practicing this for 3 years and never made that connection, never made that understanding of it's the spirit molecule that we are working to preserve and to increase and raise. Oh my gosh, it was just like, blew my mind. And then to realize when I was reading that, I also grabbed out the God Man and was reading in that. And then to learn about there's something special about that 37th seed, which will be this month for me. And I will say that each year, the first year was hard. Second year was hard. This third year was hard as well, but in a different way. In a very different way. And I can see how, since I've been doing this for 3 years, I can see the progress that each year has brought into my life and into my spirituality, and how it's opened and changed things. Like, I can't even, there's no question in my mind that it is this process of practicing the sacred secretion that has got me where I am. And life is pretty fucking good right now, which is crazy because up until 2 weeks ago, I was still in hell. I was still living my life was in flames. And so my birthday's tomorrow. And then on Saturday, I'm getting my first tattoo. At 51, I'm getting my first tattoo. And it's going to be a phoenix rising out of the flames, out of the ashes, which is symbolic for me, this whole process of me leaving the Mormon church the last 8 years. It's my spiritual journey, symbolic of my spiritual journey, symbolic of my marriage too, because my marriage has absolutely been burnt to the ground, and we are in the process of rebuilding it, which also is a little miracle in my mind. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, everything in my life has been burnt to the ground. And that's a good thing. Grandmother said, let go, right? And some things I wanted to not let go of. But this past year has shown me there's nothing I can't let go of. And by letting go of the attachment, miracles happen. And that's what I'm witnessing now, is some really beautiful miracles taking place in my life. So, birthday tomorrow, get a whole new set of seeds, right, for the next year. And then my first moon in sun sign will be at the end of the month. It will be, I think it's the 27th. I think it is the dark moon again. I don't know. Or maybe it just misses the dark moon. But, and that will be my 37th time with this process. So maybe next month I will make a video and see if anything miraculous happens with those 2.5 days that I am consciously sitting with that intention to raise the oil. Well, thanks for hanging in with me. This was a longer one, and I would highly recommend that book, The Science of the Sacred Secretion. She says it very plain and I just thought it was great, but it doesn't have all the information. You can't not do this process and leave out God Man, the Word Made Flesh by George Carey. So important. All right. Thanks. Namaste.